Shut up and sit down.
What's the story, Internet? I hope everyone is having a wonderful day so far. Hope you're enjoying the weekend and hope you're ready for another wonderful week. Before we jump into the review of the Premier League, we have some other results to talk about in the other leagues. So let's start by taking a trip to the French League for quite an upset, really. Lorient defeating Paris Saint-Germain 3-2. So yeah, not a good result for the French champions. They were 2-1 up at one point thanks to two Neymar penalties. But then Lorient just came back and they were pretty good for the money. I mean, PSG had their possession at 65% to 35%. But yeah, they had 16 shots and 5 on target compared to PSG's 14 and 3. So, yeah, this is quite shocking for the French league because this means that PSG is in third behind Lille and Lyon. And they were defeated by 18th place Lorient. So yeah, a good result for Lorient there. A terrible result for for the champions. Next upset I wanted to discuss was Real Madrid 1, Levante 2. Real Madrid are just not having a good time at the minute. They weren't helped by the fact that Eder Militao got a red card in the 9th minute. But then, even with that, Marco Asensio got a goal in the 13th minute, so they were sailing. But then Levante had the possession. They had more shots with 14-8. They had more shots on target, 8-2, and this just condemns Real Madrid further and further. Atletico Madrid are 10 points clear of both them and Barcelona, with a game in hand. It's Atletico Madrid's title to lose, really. So yeah, fair play to Levante. They thoroughly deserved it, and they can celebrate for it. So fair play to them. Serie A, there weren't any upsets, I'm afraid. The closest one to an upset was Lazio beating Atalanta, but yeah, nothing too major in the Serie A. But let's jump over to the Bundesliga, since there were a couple of matches that I discussed there in my preview video. So Union Berlin 1, Mönchengladbach 1. Sounds like a very tight match. It's not a good result for either of them, really, because it puts them down to 7th and 8th respectively. However, Mönchengladbach are level on points with Dortmund and Leverkusen, and they're only 1 point behind Frankfurt in 4th. They're only 3 points behind Wolfsburg in 3rd. So, and then Union Berlin are 6 points behind Wolfsburg, so it's very close at the top there. Dortmund beat Augsburg 3-1, Bayern Munich beat Hoffenheim 4-1, Eintracht Frankfurt winning 3-1, and Leipzig beating Leverkusen 1-0. So that is a very important match because that puts Leipzig 3 points clear of Wolfsburg and keeps them, I won't say close, but keeps them within sight of Bayern Munich anyway. So they are 7 points behind the front runners. Looks like Bayern Munich's going to run away with it again, but it's never been this close, not in my recent memory anyway. So that's fantastic for Germany. It keeps the interest going. And speaking of interesting, let's jump over to the Premier League. So, got off with a bang on Saturday. Newcastle 2, Everton 0. I don't think anyone saw this one coming with Newcastle's recent run of form. I mean, let's go through their recent matches. Lost to Leeds, lost to Aston Villa, lost to Arsenal, lost to Sheffield United, lost to Arsenal again in the Cup, lost to Leicester, drew with Liverpool, to be fair, lost to City, lost to Brentford, drew with Fulham, lost to Leeds. Their last win was on December the 12th. So fair play to them. They were good in their shots and shots on target. They had less possession, so relatively even match, which is even more shocking for Everton because they were doing quite well. They were getting back on form again. So that takes Newcastle up to 5th. They stay level on points with Burnley thanks to Burnley's result. And it also puts them within touching distance of Wolves. So fair play to Newcastle. It takes them away from Fulham in 18th and from West Brom in 19th. A little bit anyway. Speaking of Wolves, the next result is Crystal Palace 1, Wolves 0. Very even match in possession. Shots 11-6 in Palace's favour, only 2 on target to Wolves' 4. So yeah, both very close. It puts Crystal Palace 3 points ahead of Wolves, but still, that area is very clogged, just like it is at the top of the table. So, speaking of top of the table, Manchester City versus Sheffield United. Manchester City won 1-0, thanks to a Gabriel Jesus goal. Sheffield United, they look so good. They're coming out to play. That's the thing. Usually when you think of teams like this, the Sunderlands of the world, Derby County a couple of years ago, Hull, where it's almost like a guaranteed victory. Sheffield United are coming out to play. They're just finding it very difficult. But the passion is there and the energy is there. They have the possibility, as Manchester United found out. So, but that means that City do go 3 points clear of Manchester United with a game in hand. So, yeah. So, especially because of Manchester United's result, which is coming up. West Brom 2, Fulham 2. Quite possibly the worst possible result for both of those teams, 18th versus 19th. They could have done with the other 2 points, just because points are so important, and they could have done with the extra points there. So yeah, just not a good result for either team. Sounds like a thoroughly entertaining match. Fulham had the possession, they had the shots, and they had the shots on target, but it could only be held to a draw. So Fulham took the lead thanks to Bobby Reid in the 10th minute, and then West Brom came back thanks to Cal Batley and Mateus Pereira, and then Ivan Carolero scored the equaliser. So a very interesting match there. Speaking of interesting matches, Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. So, Arsenal had 17 shots, Manchester United had 14 shots. Out of those combined 31 shots, both teams only had 3 on target. Both teams had 6 on target total, but 3 each. Like, hit the post, hit the crossbar, goalkeepers were on fire, players just couldn't find the shooting boots. It was so close for both teams, but close just isn't good enough. So, but both teams went for it. It wasn't like it was a bore draw where neither team were fighting for it. So fair play to both teams, but just not the result that either of them wanted, really. So, so a bit disappointing. But both teams went for it. I have to say that both teams did go for it. So can't be faulted there, I suppose. So on to the next one. We have Aston Villa 1, Southampton 0. Bit of controversy here. Danny Ings had a late equaliser ruled out for offside, even though it was the arm was offside. So very, very contentious VAR decision there. And Southampton were good for the money. They had the possession, they had the shots on target. They just couldn't finish the dinner, unfortunately. And when they did, it was taken away from them by VAR. And so that means that Aston Villa stay in 9th on 32 points. However, they do have 2 games in hand. So they could jump up as far as, let's take the 38. So that would take them above West Ham in 5th. And that would leave them only 1 point behind Leicester City. So not too bad. Southampton are on 29 points in 11th, only 2 points behind Arsenal. So both teams are still in good positions, especially from where you would have expected them to be at the beginning of the season, no disrespect. So yeah, both teams can find themselves in a good spot there. So on to the next one. So we have Chelsea 2, Burnley 0. So Thomas Tuchel gets his first win as a Chelsea manager. So yeah, kind of disappointing. I was kind of having fun with Chelsea's misery, not in a mean way, but just football. But they were very, very good. I mean, 19 shots to Burnley's 1, 8 shots on target to 0, 72 to 28% possession. You can't say anything more than the fact that they dominated proceedings, really. So yeah, there's not a lot else to say, except for the fact that it seemed like it was two defenders that that saved the day for them in Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso. So still can't find the form for the attackers at the moment, especially Timo Werner. He's just gone completely missing since he arrived in London. Next one, Leicester City 1, Leeds United 3. So a bit of a blow for Leicester. And this is the reason why a lot of people keep going on about how now Manchester City are 4 points clear and they've got a game in hand and oh my God, the end is near, they've won the title. But remember back to a couple of weeks ago when Liverpool were on top and they were 8 points clear and Manchester United were in like 9th. And then Leicester came out of nowhere and Aston Villa were on the rampage. And this season is so ever-changing that it's too early to call. And it's just funny how people forget about a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago. But it's not over for Leicester. I mean, they're only 2 points behind Manchester United. They're 4 points clear of West Ham. They're in 4th. I mean, they're still doing very, very well. They just had a blip. So Leicester had the shots 18-8, shots on target 8-7, 51 to 49% possession, but Leeds were just clinical. So fair play to the Yorkshire team. Very well deserved. And it's good to see Leeds kicking on all cylinders again. And that's just the wonderful thing about this season is any team can beat anyone at any time. So West Ham 1, Liverpool 3. Liverpool had the possession, they had the shots on target, takes them back up to 3rd, puts them 1 point behind Manchester United, 4 points behind City, but City still have a game in hand over them as well. So yeah, it's interesting. If you said at the beginning of the season this was going to be a 4th against 5th, and it was going to be for a 3rd place spot, not many people would have believed you. So yeah, fair play to Liverpool because West Ham have been playing very well recently. David Moyes has got them kicking on really, really well. So fair play. And then on to the last one, we have Brighton 1, Tottenham 0, thanks to Leandro Trossard. But Brighton were all over them. They had 16 shots to 8, 5 shots on target to 4. Yeah, they didn't have the possession, but as I keep on saying, say it with me, possession doesn't win matches. So yeah, a very good result for Brighton. It takes them 7 points clear of Fulham. Fulham do have a game in hand though. They're only 1 point behind Burnley and Newcastle, 2 points behind Wolves, and only 5 points behind Palace. So that was a very, very good result for Brighton and a terrible result for Spurs. Now, it doesn't put them without touching distance. They have a game in hand, so they can bounce back, but it's just not a team that you want to lose to at the minute. So yeah, a lot of ups and downs this weekend. I think it was another good weekend of football. So we have some matches upcoming this week, and I will preview those tomorrow. So I'll be back my usual time tomorrow evening. But in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe, keeping out of trouble. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And until tomorrow, ta-ra for now.